Oh, there we
Hi,
go.
everybody. So, Alisa, you did it. It worked. So, yeah.
Thank you.
So, Alisa has amazing things going on, and most of you guys know her. And she's a long-time friend of mine, and we are like in the thick of it with a lot of the information. And she just had an amazing experience, and we're going to talk about that. And also, she has a lot of questions that come into her email box, and we're going to answer some of those today.
Yes,
So,
we
how are
are.
you doing, Elisa?
I'm actually doing pretty good. I'm a little tired because I mean I got off work this morning, jumped in the shower to try to revive myself, and so I'm good. I am good. I'm drinking water, not tea or coffee or nothing. So whenever I get done with this, I can gracefully go lay down and get my beauty sleep, my brothers and sisters.
Oh, good.
Uh, but I do come bearing some good news, some good information for everybody, and some good questions also in the mix. So I sit back and enjoy the show this morning, my brothers and sisters, because it's actually pretty good. A lot of you that listens to my music had heard a song that I just recently put out, and it's called Green Light. Okay. And the reason why I put that song out is because I got a green light, my brothers and sisters. I was so ecstatic and so happy about it that I wrote a song. And it expresses, pretty much how I feel that I got the green light, that everything is to go. Now, what does that mean? Okay, well, they let me know that all of the harm is out of the way. Okay, all of these bad guys have been put aside. There's no worries. In other words, everything is clear. We can go forwards. We ain't gonna have no more major struggles with these bad guys. Okay, and I think that's fantastic because that's called being contained. Everything is contained. The situation has been contained and it's controlled. Okay. And it's only the white hats is in control. That's why we're seeing all this stuff that's coming out with Trump. Just keep pumping all this stuff out, one thing after another. Well, the biggest part of that is you got to think about it. He had all this stuff ready and set up and planned before he ever walked into the White House again. In other words, it took all that time for them to get all the stuff together so that whenever he walks in the door, boom, 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 one thing after another is happening, and he's keeping his promise to us, okay? But it's not just Trump that is doing this, okay? It's all the white hats that are behind him and all the good guys that are helping us, all these extraterrestrials, our star families that are in play, okay? And I have been informed that underneath the ground and on the outsides of it, where our soldiers were still fighting to bring in these bad guys and corner them to get rid of them, all of that's been taken care of. So I think that's fantastic. So,
Mhm.
and the frequency is so high that we're riding this beautiful wave of going into the future with all of this great future technology just coming towards us. Okay. And another thing that they were letting me know that, well, I contacted Honey and I said, Honey, I got some information and they would like for me to get it out before April 12th. Okay. And she says, yes. So they're telling me that by summertime, Elon is going to be bringing out and talking about these Tesla beds that he has, okay, which is the med beds that he has. Now, I didn't even know that Elon had these med beds, okay, or these Tesla med beds, but he's supposed to be coming out with that. Now before April 12th, we're going to be hearing a lot of things as far as like the Doge stuff. Now, it's already gotten deep enough to tick us off because we're hearing about all of these different things that our funds is being spent on that should not be. Well, what they're doing is they're exposing all of this stuff. Now, they're exposing us and telling us, well, the money's going here and the money's going there. Okay, but who is sending that money? Who has their hands on that money? Okay, and who is benefiting off of this money? Okay, well, that's what they're going to be doing here, like really soon, is
Mhm.
exposing those Bahama accounts or offshore accounts, and they're all going to be tied to these Congress people. Okay,
Mhm.
and that's going to expose them on a grand scale all the way up. Okay, there's Elon is starting from the bottom, showing you so you can get your attention and saying, "Oh, wait a minute! If there's that, there's got to be more." And then he shows us more and more, and it's going to expose it. Now, the bad guys would have never allowed that to happen. That's why they were in control. Okay, and if you look at all the Democrats and the bad guys that are in play right now, they're making absolutely fools out of themselves. Now, why would they do that? They've never done that before. They were very cocky and very confident because they know that they had it in the bag, so to speak. It was all under their control. Well, now it's not under their control. So therefore, what changed? Okay. Did they have a change of heart? No, these people have been swapped out. Okay, these are characters that are playing a role so that we can see how foolish they are, because they would have never have done that on their own.
Mm-mm.
Okay, they were too smart for that. So now that they're being exposed, the last thing that could come of that is the fact that, their names are going to be tied to these offshore accounts. And there's going to be so many of them, it's going to be quite surprising to us, but not yet surprising at all, because we suspect these to be evil fuckers, okay? So, but that is the good news that's coming out for, by the end of April, we're going to be hearing this. And also, the best news that I've gotten was that with the green light is that, I'm being told that by the end of the year, not the end of the year, but by the end of the year, that, they are going to say in that wonderful announcement, we are not alone. Okay. And whenever they say that, whether it be the news, Trump or Elon or anybody like this here that's going to make this so called statement, that is going to be the green light for our star families. Okay, that is going to cause it to rush on in, because then they know that they can start making the contact with us, boots on the ground. Okay, now it's not, doesn't mean they're going to come knocking on your door and they're going to call your phone or send you an email. Okay, this is going to be done on the way that they know how to do that, whether it be through telepathy or through your dreams or day visions. Okay, or hearing the talking. Okay, if it sounds like it's somebody in the room with you, then you can pretty much assure that that's a star family. You just can't see them, but if they decide to show themselves, then absolutely. But these things are going to start coming into play, and because they're letting me know now that this is going to happen, to be prepared for this. Of course, it comes back out about the Vatican saying, "Well, if you have these experiences, let us know." And so that's going to be a big thing that we're going to start seeing, as far as like the Vatican is going to start saying certain things of, oh, no, 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 you can't do this and you can't do that, whatever. They're going to try to deter you from it. But once they say that statement, my brothers and sisters, to the best of my knowledge, that whenever they say that we are not alone, that is going to be the green light for all of those who came here incognito. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to seeing the results of that and how that's going to play going forwards. But this year is the year of disclosure, period. That's what all this year is going to be about. Now, and with that disclosure, next year is going to be what? That is going to be our rocket. Okay, and all of this stuff is going to fall into play. Now, as far as these Tesla beds that they're telling me, is that Elon is already having them set up in hospitals. Okay, now we've heard this about the regular med beds. So, oh, they're supposed to be underneath the basements in the hospitals and all these things that's here. Well, I mean, that is pretty much true. For the quantum med beds, there are certain places they are. Now, these Tesla med beds, Elon can come right out and talk about these suckers all he wants to, and people will accept it because they're very familiar with him. So, and they
Mm-hmm.
would be excited. So I do know that Elon's going to play a big role into introducing a lot of this here technology to us. So let's just be thankful and positive about it. So, and
Mm-hmm.
at the moment, that's pretty much all the information that I have, other than to stay positive in your mindsets, my brothers and sisters, and speak out your prayers from your heart. God says, now's the time. I need you to speak it out loud, and just go into your bathroom, wherever you want to do, and then speak it out loud and speak it with your heart, because all ears and all eyes are on you, on each one of us. Okay. Um,
Love it.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I'm really excited for this year. I think Elon is the tech disclosure person,
Mhm,
and he's a 2.0, so he's not the original Elon, and most of us know that at this point.
mhm,
And he does look slightly different, and he has shown that he's wearing a mask. So it's important to realize that and know that there is somebody behind that. I get more than one person behind that mask helping,
mhm,
and we're watching a play. So all the stuff, he's not the only one that's bringing it out, but he is bringing out a lot of it. And that med bed feels like a beautiful frequency bed that will heal you.
mhm,
It doesn't feel like it's going to go to the point where a quantum bed will, but it will get you to the point where you feel great and you can do whatever you need to do. And it will put you in the headspace that you'll be able to graduate into the other ones later.
Right.
And we've talked about that before, I think, on a show, Alisa, but
Mhm.
it's time. Not everybody's going to be ready for a holographic med bed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So these are going to be more for like people that are awakening, people that still have a bunch of programs, people that
Mhm.
haven't been working on their inner self.
Mhm.
And I mean, I'm going to be happy to go in one, balance the hormones, get, my whole system top notch.
Mhm.
Yeah, totally. And then go into one of the other ones later. But
Right.
I think pretty much everybody will have an opportunity to go into one of Elon's med beds very quickly.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
I had didn't wasn't told whether or not those things would cost money. I guess we're all going to find out together.
I
Okay.
don't
I'm
think
hoping that
so.
they're
I
going to be
think he's
free.
gonna say
So,
something about it. Like, I
right.
want this to be free for the world, or the government is paying for this, with some of the
Right.
lost money,
Yeah.
or
There you go. It's
whatever,
perfect.
right?
That's right. He's saving all of us that money so we can go do it and get it for
Yeah.
free. Yeah.
So that's going to be really cool. And you had a lot of questions that you sent me. Um,
Yes, I do.
yeah,
And I'm gonna let me start at this one here. Um, it says, are NPCs disappearing or gone? And how can you tell if you're dealing with an NPC? And I thought it was a great question to ask you, honey.
it is a great question. At this point, almost 90% of the people are NPCs.
Mhm.
So a lot of human beings went the way of the split and they've already ascended. We are seeing a lot of NPCs, which either you create or humanity is creating. So when I was in the hospital with dad, I was like, why does this hospital feel so weird? Why does it feel spongy? Why doesn't it feel real? And there were three people in that hospital believed that it was real. And one of them was my dad, who was like in and out of consciousness all the time. And there were two others. So there were basically three human beings in this enormous hospital keeping it going. And you have to remember everything is like a creation and it's created out of light. And light can become solid, and they actually prove that with science recently.
Mhm.
So we know how to do that as creation beings.
Right.
Um, will they disappear? Yes.
Mhm.
We are not going to be needing them much longer. So the population will just slowly filter away.
Right.
And then we will all of a sudden see that a lot of people are ETs too. So
Mhm.
they may appear to us as, like a regular person, but they're actually an ET.
Yeah.
And now they'll be able to show who they really are. And that will be really wonderful.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
also, we're just going to be running around and doing things with them. So start thinking
Right.
about Star Wars, Star Trek. Like, that's normal. That's going to
Yeah.
be normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as far as like the NPCs, because there will be some that is going to disappear. Okay, they will
Mm-hmm.
be going away. I want to thank our Tartarian friends because they're going to come in here and they're going to start filling in the gaps, and they can blend in because they look like us. Okay, they're going to be very, very helpful in this process. And I got a tickle the other day whenever I heard Elon talking about they exposed that there was 25 million ghost people receiving Social Security and stuff like this here. Well, look at there. Elon just wiped off 25 million NPCs, fake people,
Yeah.
in one shot. In
Mm-hmm.
one shot. So, and that's going to keep happening to us. We're going to start seeing that these things, what they claimed was real, these 25 million people that was getting this stuff, even though they're ghosts, they were still being claimed as part of our population.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that now you just drop down the population from 400 million to 375 million. How
Yeah.
many more is going to start popping off of that list? And I think that's fantastic that it's being exposed, but nobody has really looked at that. He's calling it a ghost, but I'm also calling it ghost NPCs because to us, we think they're real. Okay. So now they're out of the picture. And the part of that question was, how do you tell or how do you know if you're dealing with an NPC, honey?
So they seem like they run on a loop on a program. And another thing is look into people's eyes.
Mhm.
If they sparkle, if you feel their soul behind their eyes, then they are not an NPC.
Right.
But if you're looking at somebody who's kind of giving you like a blank look, and then they are an NPC. And I've met so many of them, usually when
Yeah.
we're traveling,
Yeah.
and they just say the same thing over and over and over, or they're very, not to be mean, but boring.
Right. Right. And
Yeah.
and then these NPCs can also be used to keep havoc on the field.
Hmm.
Okay. And because they are an NPC, what does an NPC do? What does that mean? Is it a program? Is it an AI? Is it a clone? Well, actually, it's all of those things.
Hmm.
Okay. But they all serve different purposes. But I think that's pretty cool that if you look at a person and you can tell in a person's eyes, whether they have that twinkle or if they're alive, you just feel it, you just know it. But then I've heard people say, well, their eyes were just so dead or they were just so cold in their eyes. They always emphasize about
Yeah.
eyes. So that's a good key as far as like looking at their eyes. But you can also tell by the way that they act. They seem very repetitious, like Honey said. They seem
Yeah.
very repetitious. All right. My next good question. Now, I pulled a lot of these questions so that I could ask Honey because I got a lot of questions. Um, what is the best advice for helping our ego adjust in these changing times?
Ask yourself, am I reacting from fear or love?
Right.
If you're reacting from fear, it's your ego. If you're reacting from love, it's your soul or your inner child. And the ego is really hooked to the fight or flight.
Mhm.
So just being careful about that and starting to recognize where your ego is and what it's doing really helps. Like it really does. Yeah. And
Yeah, it
change is
does.
the biggest thing that people have not wanted to do. Well,
Right.
guess what? The quantum financial system is a change. The golden age is a change. The new technology is a change. So we need to go forward into it with gusto and appreciation and gratitude.
Right.
And if we do
Exactly.
that, then it's going to work out so much faster and better.
I agree, which goes perfectly with the next question. Okay. Not just the monies and stuff that is coming, but honey, what do you think about the new AI technology coming? Should we be scared? And
No,
right,
no.
welcome it with a positive mindset. Don't be in fear of it, because like Honey said, if you think fear, you're going to get fear. You
Mhm.
know, think positive, you're going to get positive.
Yeah, it's neutral.
Hmm.
AI is neutral. It's what you make out of it. What do you
Exactly.
want it to be?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Um, oh, well, this one's good. Does Trump have a clone or a body double?
He has several body doubles right now. And the way that they tell you is really funny. They're like, look at his amazing weight loss. Doesn't he look amazing? And they'll have a picture of him walking across the lawn.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's lost like 40 pounds or something, and I'm like, he's a different person. It's a different person, and I don't think we've seen the original Trump for a long time. I think he's very
Right.
busy in the background doing other things. And
Exactly.
Alisa and I were talking earlier, and I was like, oh, he's going beyond the ice wall quite a bit now at this point, too.
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
Yes, he has. And uh, is Trump from Earth?
No, but his body is. So just like us, we're not from Earth.
Right.
And but his body is, he always feels Pleiadian to me. When I feel Trump. Now I think that he's had a lot of help from
Mhm.
angelics and
Yeah,
architect beings and but mainly his main thing has been Pleiadian, which is a beautiful connection to Earth because they created a lot of stuff here.
I agree. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree. And now here's another one that goes, I guess, along with that. Are all the white hats mostly off-worlders?
Well, yes, at this moment, because a lot of the ones that we think are like a lot of white hats are NPCs at this point. So a lot of like the population of the military, they're not really real, some of them at this point. Think about the population in general.
Mhm.
So you have about 10% is what I'm getting at this point, which is smaller than I've ever said before, are really a being. So there's a lot of ETs filling that gap right now. Tons of them, feels like, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are so many of them all around us right now. It's just mind-boggling because they're not only are they taking certain special roles, but they're also filling in the gaps for us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, on these people, and I've had people say, well, if they bring in all this technology and we lose our jobs and blah blah blah, what's going to happen to us? Well, that's where this here funds is coming in that
Yeah.
Doge is trying to collect for us, so that people would get. It's something like a universal income. That means
Mm-hmm.
everybody who doesn't have a job will get monies so that they can have a place to live, have food, shelter, and all this kind of good stuff. But it gives them the opportunity to keep going out there and try to get a job because things will come about for us to replace the jobs
That
that we
you
have.
like,
Right.
that you like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
Yeah, you're
Um,
not going to have to work to live anymore.
That's a fact. We're supposed to
Yeah.
thrive, not survive. Okay. And that's exactly where the future that we're going to is to be a very thriving one for all of us collectively. And I'm looking so forward to that. All right. Well, here's a good question. Um, I get this one a lot. How can you know if you are here to do a mission?
If you're awake, if
Mhm,
you're present here, if you're not an NPC, then you are on mission. It
mhm.
doesn't matter what the mission is, you're on a mission and you've chosen to do it. Yeah.
That's right. And you have these desires inside of you. You want to change things. You want to see things better. That itself is proof that you
Mm-hmm.
want to see the change, that you're here because you want that to happen. So, and every person that you have in your little collective that comes over and says, I want that too, that just makes it brighter and better and stronger, that makes it happen. So
Mm-hmm.
know that you were here for that. You are here for that purpose. As long as you want to see change in the world and be a part of that beautiful change, absolutely you're here. And if you can vision it, then that means that you are one of the ones that's supposed to be help creating it. Okay. And we're all supposed to do that. But then there's certain ones that have our own, project that we have going in our head. Because I had no idea I was going to be doing these houses and all this kind of good stuff. But once God started giving me that, tell me this is what I'm supposed to do, it started coming into play. And now I'm solidified in it. And I'm like, yes, I'm helping with that because I want it for the whole, the masses of all of us.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
exciting.
Hold on a second. I know I got another one here. See if I put my glasses on, I might have been all right.
Oh,
Okay. I thought this was pretty good. Um, can a near-death experience, since you've been through that yourself, honey,
mm-hmm.
um, can it change a person, or can the soul be swapped out?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the main ways. Like if you're in a car accident, nowadays it's just been like some people have just been swapped out overnight because of Ascension.
Hmm.
And a lot of people have had walk-ins and walk-outs, and they know it. They feel it inside them, but their inner child stays the same. So their
Okay.
humanity is the same. Yeah.
All right. Well, this one goes along with that. Why do you think people have these near-death experiences? Are they part of their soul? Is it part of their soul contract, or is it forced upon us by the evil ones? That's a good question.
Yeah. And no, it's part of the soul contract.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah.
think too.
Now, one thing to be aware of is that Earth has been under control by a group of beings that, remember, the whole universe was polarized. So it was all about fighting to learn. So contrast. And they kind of took over Earth at a certain point. And at that point, the human being soul didn't really get out. So they got stuck here. So they've been manipulated for a very long time. And that's why this ascension process has been so intense, because humanity has been enslaved for so long.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I know you've answered this before, but because it came up again, has reincarnation stopped?
No, the reincarnation wheel is gone. Reincarnation itself, that will go on forever because souls are always playing a new game. So you may reincarnate on some green planet somewhere where everything is green, the water's green, there's no other color, and you might be green too and just blend right in. So,
There
you
you go.
know, it doesn't matter. We're always reincarnating.
Right, because I mean, when you leave here, I mean, why not? I want to go to a purple world, not a green. So
Yeah.
it's another role, I mean, that's what we do. We pick up these other bodies and we'll keep going forwards and having more experiences. Um, I thought this was a really good question too, because all of us has felt this. It says, if our family members are still not awake and still fighting against us, it's very frustrating. Should we just stop trying?
Yes. Because you're actually pushing back at them and holding them like in stasis. It's like, you know, when a teenager wants to do something and you say no,
Mhm.
then they want to do it more. So when you're basically saying no to them, that's not right. So then they think they have to fight. And
Mhm.
some of them at this point are no longer actually here. You're talking to yourself, you're seeing a hologram of them. So be aware of that too. Like some of them could be an NPC at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
And I agree with that because I mean we have family members and we love them so much. We would like to help wake them up as well. But even my higher self has let me know, that we're to the point where don't don't worry about it anymore
Mm-mm.
because now we are awake and what they need like an incentive, not an incentive from us necessarily, but we need something to help rattle them or shake them or get them to wake up. What would that do? Well, when they start seeing all this stuff happening, that in itself is going to start changing their perspective and their mindset. And it's going to be very helpful to you because whenever they start seeing it, then they're going to have questions. And guess what? They're going to be lucky that you're right there to be able to help answer some of them questions because then they're going to want to talk to you. Trust me, they're going to want to talk to you. All right. All right. Can you break a soul contract and or can we break others' soul contracts?
You cannot break other people's soul contracts. You can definitely break your own. So we're at a point now where, like, I had a soul contract that I was a caretaker of other beings,
Mhm.
and that went all the way back to conception of my soul, and I broke that. So you can break all of the contracts. We're going into an ascended universe. We don't need any of those polarized, icky, contracts that we've created in the past for learning. We don't need them.
Mhm.
But it's not your business to break other people's contracts.
Yeah. You can bless them and pray
Yeah.
for them. But it's like we're hot air balloons, my brothers and sisters, and you got all them sandbags on the side of you. If you want to get higher, you're going to have to drop them. But do it with love, because it's going to be full circle. It's all going to come into play, and I'm excited about all of this coming forward. I mean, it's always tomorrow, next week, next month, and everybody's looking for a date. And unfortunately, I cannot give you that, but I can say by the end of the year, and from my personal experience so far with all what my higher self and my star families have told me, all of that has seemed to have come into play, and therefore I have no reason to disbelieve them. And my belief and desire for that so much helps solidify it because when I'm getting this information, I'm like, success is the only outcome. So
Mhm.
I'm taking it with such gratitude and belief in my heart. So we're going to play this a little bit longer and see how it goes. So remember, my brothers and sisters, it's going to get a little bumpy here and there, but please keep your hands inside the rides at all times and stay peaceful. And on that, I did want to let everybody know before I ask Honey this here last list of questions that I had. Um, Everybody's familiar with Bruce Lee, okay? He's pretty well known. Well, Bruce Lee had an opportunity to be on the Hornet Show, okay? And he was playing Kato, his sidekick, okay? And while he was doing this, they were filming it, and Bruce Lee was so fast that the camera couldn't catch him. So they stopped and they said, well, what are you doing? He says, I'm just being me. I'm doing me. And he says, well, you're so fast that we can't see you do that. And they asked him, how are you doing that? I thought this was a great answer, my brothers and sisters. Bruce Lee said, simple. The guy says, how did you do that? Bruce Lee said, peace. And he said, what do you mean? He said, well, whenever you're peaceful on the inside, it becomes the weakness to the outside, and there's no resistance, so you're faster.
Mhm.
And I thought, that's a great answer. So whenever you're peaceful on the inside, the world around you is non-resistant.
Yeah.
Okay. And therefore things flow faster. And whenever you're in that happy state of mind, it's also non-resistance and you flow faster. It's
Mhm.
whenever you have a harborness in your hate or discontent or unhappiness, that is what causes these obstacles in front of you. So I want to thank Bruce Lee for helping me to remember that background documentary that they did that reminded me of whenever he said that. And I thought that is a really good answer. The peace on the inside of you, my brothers and sisters, is the krypton or kryptonite to the weakness to the outside. As long as you're peaceful on the inside, the outside will be peaceful as well. And it gives you a chance to add these things that you'd like to see, the unity, the oneness, the happiness, the joy, because there's no resistance from you. Okay.
Yeah.
And he said that also made him faster because there's no resistance. So I thought that was a great answer. So,
It's a beautiful answer. I love that. Yeah, he was very wise.
yes, he was.
Mhm.
Too bad he was murdered, but that's okay. That's another story for another time. All right, and this is a good question too, because even I had this question. Um, is pink Himalayan salt from giant petrified bodies, and is it safe to use?
Some of it is, and some of it isn't. It depends. And some of it is contaminated. So I got that some of it was contaminated from like an ancient war.
Mhm.
Some of it is contaminated because of the way they mine it, but some of it is from like a huge giant, a titan. So it just depends on where your salt comes from. So tune into each one that you pick up if you want to have the pink salt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I got a giant bag of it, and I stopped using it,
I know I did too.
because
I quit.
and I don't really want to throw it away. But then I said, you know what? It's just like anything else. It's the energy you put in it. It's the intent that you put in it. You know.
Yeah.
But that's a personal thing. Like Honey says, tune into it, see what you feel. And then go with that. So therefore, I don't feel so bad about putting it in my waters because I do bless it. I grab it up like that, and I'll talk to it. You're so beautiful. I love you. And I know you're going to love me back by helping my body. And then I put it in the water. So it's very, very helpful whenever you treat it with a love and kindness, no matter what, because your energy is what changes it. So,
Yeah. And that's a 5D answer. So Alisa gave a 5D answer, and I gave more of a 3D answer to that because we're not really physical here.
right.
So you can manipulate anything that you want it to be. And when I first got asked that question, I said, no, it's fine for you because I asked, is Himalayan salt okay for me? And it was. But then when I asked for the collective, it was no. So, because they had already been clued in that there was something going on.
Well, it is a personal thing. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's personal.
yeah, I mean, some
Your
people feel
world.
bad about eating meat. Well,
Mhm.
I don't. I pray over my food. That's the loophole. God says it doesn't matter. You eat what you can get, blah, 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 as long as you treat it with love and you talk to it and you change the energy of it, you
Mhm.
know. And so therefore, I don't feel bad about having a steak. I don't feel bad.
No.
I don't feel bad about having a pork chop, because I do. I sing to my food and I pray, and that is what gives it back the love. I give it the love and it gives it back to me.
Mhm.
So, and it's just staying in that and knowing that if you run across those things as well. Look at me. I'm tired, honey. I'm sorry. My eyes are bugging on me.
Yeah. Yeah. You've been up a long time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're creating your own reality. Like in the past, on the old Earth, because we're on a new Earth now, you guys, like we're in the fifth density,
Mhm,
but in the old Earth, like meat that came from animals,
mhm,
that was kind of something that um, they didn't really want to be eaten. Plants didn't really want to be eaten. The only thing that was okay with it was the fruit, because then you're going to go and spread the seeds around, right? You're part of the process. But that was also part of the angst, you know? There were certain groups, I remember even as a kid, certain groups of animals that came down here and got manipulated, like humanity got manipulated.
mhm.
And that was cows and sheep and goats, and goats are kind of like, they get away with a lot more, they're a little more wild. But and chickens. And when I was a kid, I had no respect for cows and chickens. I was like, why would they let themselves get in this situation? Because I knew what the laws of the universe were, even though I couldn't put words into it. And
All right.
that's why I was so ticked off about plastic when I was 3, because I was like, that's against the universal law. That's against the law, is what came into my head.
Nice.
So, you know,
Well, I did want to share something with you, my brother says. I think you might have heard me say it before. The Tartarians do not eat cow, chicken, and pork. Okay, they're fish eaters. Okay, they're seafood eaters. And then you've got to think, well, where did we get our cows and chickens and pigs and stuff from? Well, that was a lovely gift from the Anunnakis. Okay, and that was downsized for us. And then I want you to think about this, my brothers and sisters. The Anunnaki got their own world, their own planet. What do they eat? Okay. Well,
yeah,
when they came here, what do you think they brought here? They brought their own food. They brought their food source. It was dumbed down and small and downsized for us. But I want you to think about this really hard, my brothers and sisters. What do you think they were eating? Okay. The one thing that we got on this planet, we can't really explain why they're here. Okay. And that would be the dinosaurs, my brothers and sisters. That would be their type of creatures that are on their planet. Okay. And this is their food source. Okay. Now, whenever it was brought here, yes, it got out of hand, too big, too small, but they had to bring their own food here. They had to grow their own food here. Because one cow is not going to be sufficient for something that's 20 to 40 foot tall.
no,
Okay. So you had to have larger beasts in order for them to eat. So they brought their own food here. And unfortunately, it is true. A lot of these creatures that they brought here are dinosaurs type creatures because that's what's on their world.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And then also a lot of dinosaurs. So I can't remember the one, but the one with all the kind of almost looks like a leaf, and it's these big like bony things that go down its back.
oh, I know
Can't
what you're talking
remember.
about, the brontosaurus.
Yes, the brontosaurus. So that one is definitely like an Anunnaki
Mhm.
dinosaur. Some of the other ones are actually dragons, and the archaeologists are saying, "Oh no, that's a dinosaur."
That's right, they're
And
dragons. Yeah.
yeah, so that we're dragons. So there's all kinds of nuances in
Mhm.
everything.
Yeah, including they brought and flourished our oceans with their food as well.
Mhm.
Okay, now what we have here is very small to what's outside that first ice wall, which is no longer there. But they have very large seafood, and
Yeah.
they did put it into our oceans as well. So, and we've even, heard about some of these large creatures that was in the water. Well, that's because they brought them here.
Yeah.
So they can have their own food source here. So I just wanted to share that with you, my brothers and sisters, because I was like, but people don't even know, like, what were these people eating? So
Mhm.
they eventually, the ones that they created started eating humans. So that's a no-no. So that was the reason why everything just went sour. So, but
Yes. This
so,
was fun.
yeah. Yes.
Is there
Thank you for
anything
taking
else?
time to do
Thank
this with me
you.
this morning and let me use your platform in order to get out this information to my brothers and sisters. And
That's
just
so important. It's so
yeah,
important. Yeah.
and remember what Bruce Lee said. If you're peaceful on the inside, okay, that is the weakness to the outside. It gives you non-resistance. So stay peaceful so that you can go forwards and keep that peace. And just add what you want into that peace, the great things. So,
Yeah. Once you're no longer wound up in hanging on to something, like if you're thinking about the quantum system and thinking, I really need it, I want it, I need it to come in,
mhm,
and I'm stressing about this, and this, like taxes or whatever,
mhm,
then you are attached. And as soon as you detach and you mellow out, that's when stuff comes. When you no
mhm,
longer are obsessed about it, then it shows up. And the
exactly.
quantum system is beautiful right now.
Yes, it
It
is.
is so beautiful and it is so anchored in.
Mhm,
And all we're doing is vibrating to get to it and get into it. And you can see it. It's happening now.
mhm.
It's
Well, we've
unfolding.
all heard about the MK Ultra and how they pretty much hypnotize these people uh, to do bad things or have these bad things left in their mindset. Well, what we're doing with our mantras and our positive thoughts is we are rehypnotizing ourselves, okay? We're retraining our subconscious, okay? The more mantras you do, the good mood that you're in, the songs that you listen to, the kindness that you do, it starts embedding into your subconscious so much that it becomes your natural place on the
Mhm.
outside world. Okay, but we need to start telling our minds that all this stuff that's been programmed into our minds, that's not true. Don't limit yourself. All things are possible. All things are possible, and they already exist. Don't have to create them. You can create them individually by when you sit down and you do imagination, but it already exists. Even though you just created it, it already exists. But use those moments of peace to keep your world going, my brother and sister. We can all stay in the flow.
Yeah.
So,
And everything is just in the present moment. So enjoy your moments.
that's right. That's why it's called a present.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly.
It's
Exactly.
a gift. It's a
It
gift.
is a gift. Thank you so much, Alisa. This was a gift, and I'm really excited to put it out. I think
Thank you,
people are
my
really going
friend.
to enjoy it.
And
Yeah.
I hope that your dad is doing better and that your
Getting
mom is
better
being
has been
better.
a huge thing. Huge.
So,
But yeah. And I'm working on getting a little help because that's
good.
important. Yeah.
Because that's going to take some stress off of you. Because I mean, I've done that with my parents as well, and I know it's not an easy task. So if you can get extra help, by all means, take it. So,
Yeah.
but thank you for letting me come on here and do this. And my
Oh,
brothers and sisters, I love you, and as always, you are everything that you see, no exception. So be kind to it. And I'm going to go be very, very kind to my bed and my pillow because I'm
okay.
tired.
Sweet dreams. Love you guys.
I love you
Bye.
too. Bye.